Start. Hi everyone. Uh, so yesterday we were discussing about the ServiceNow, what is ServiceNow, and what all we have in ServiceNow. So today we'll be seeing, like we have even discussed how to create a table, how to add fields into it. Hope uh, you have seen the previous videos. So now today you'll be seeing how to uh, enhance the experience of the user and how to make fields mandatory, visible, read only, and and also scripting as well. So today we'll be covering client scripts, business rules as well, which includes the scripting part. Okay. So and I see at present the instances are not available. Just join the wait list and wait till you get an instance. Okay. Let me start. Right. So yesterday we were seeing about creating a table, right? So we have created t-shirts as a table, and we have created few records in it. So let's say if you have these many fields, right? Like these are becoming mandatory, and few are read only, right? So you can make a field visibility true or false. I mean visibility true or false by just making by removing from the form layout, form design. Okay, that's one thing. Or if you wanted to present that field on the form and should only be displayed when you select a field value. Okay, so then or you wanted to even make it mandatory, or you if you wanted to make it read only, then for this purpose you have UI policies, which means this is the user interface, right? So user interface we will be writing few policies by which we can make a field mandatory, read only, visibility, true or false, right? So this will be your interview question as well. Like, what are UI policies? UI policies will be using basically to make a field mandatory, visible, true or false, and also read only, true or false. And we also have an additional option of clearing the values as well. So those are UI policies. Okay. So coming on to the application, let's have an application. Uh, let's say this is already a mandatory field, right? Let's not make this field a mandatory. If you wanted to edit uh, the mandatory of this particular field, this has been made mandatory when you are creating the field itself. So if you wanted to remove that, you can right click and click on dictionary and then remove this read only thing, so that this field won't be read only at all times. It will be only read only when you select something here. Let's make this way, stating that whenever you have supplier contact, whenever this is not empty, then the size should be mandatory. So what am I speaking? When the supplier contact is not empty, that's what I'm speaking, right? So you need to add the similar condition. So how do you add that? Is I'm just duplicating this so that I'll get this form. So here I'll right click on this particular form and click on configure. As we are creating UI policies, just go to UI policies and click on new. So here we are making, just give a proper name here, make size visible and mandatory when supplier is not empty. Okay, then select the condition when to apply. So what you have told, when the supplier contact is not empty, that's what you're saying, right? So when this is not empty, then that's that we are defining in when to apply, right? So let me save it. And then what should happen, that we need to write it in the UI policy action. UI policy, we will be saying that when it has to happen. And if you scroll down, you have this UI policy actions in which you will be defining what action has to be taken. What should be the action? The size variable should be visible and also mandatory at that point of time. So then what we'll do is we'll make size. So this is the size field. I'm just selecting in the field name. So mandatory to true and visible to true. So what this does is, if I just save it, and go back to the UI policy. So whenever this condition is false, right, like whenever supplier contact is empty, then it will hide this field. So it will even work in the reverse condition as well. What we have written, when supplier contact is not empty, then these two variables should be, this variable should be visible and also mandatory to true, right? So I'll just reload the form. Whenever you are making that UI policies, then you need to always refresh the form before checking it. So at this point of time, if you see, whenever I'm loading the form, as the supplier contact is not empty, the size is visible and also it is a mandatory field. You won't be able to save it unless and until you give the size. Okay. So now let me make it empty. So what has become now? That field is not visible because you don't have any supplier contact. Okay. So if you wanted to make any field visibility or mandatory and also read only as well. Let's say whenever you are selecting supplier contact as Abraham Lincoln, then let's say supplier list should not be let's say new string is there, right? This new string should be a read only field whenever you select supplier contact as Abraham Lincoln, right? So what is our conditions when supplier contact is Abraham Lincoln, right? So let's create a new UI policy. Let's go to the table again. Let's right click on the header and click UI policies. UI policies is basically easy because it's just writing conditions and having the actions. So just give that short description. And then what is our condition when supplier contact is Abraham Lincoln? So Abraham Lincoln, then whenever you are saying then, that will be coming into UI policy actions. Remember that. So whenever you say when this condition is setting to true, then it will comes under UI policies, and whatever the action you have, that will come under UI policy action. So here you need to select I guess string 9. So I'll just select that and say that read only to true. So I'll just refresh this particular thing, and I'll select this as Abraham Lincoln. You see here. So whenever I'm selecting this particular thing, the new string is becoming read only. So you can apply this kind of UI policies to different requirements. So now you should be able to understand what is a UI policy. So basically UI policy is used if you wanted to make a field mandatory, read only, or visibility true or false. Mandatory, visibility, and read only true or false. And also you have a other application called clear value. So these are the things that you have to know about UI policies so that you can handle the form, right? So just try it out with different scenarios. Just imagine some of the other scenario and just execute it. Let's say when short description contains test, make this new string as mandatory, something like that. Make your own requirements and do it. So whenever you do it, you get issues, post that in the comments. I'll respond to it and you'll be able to learn more. Okay, so that's all about UI policies. So you have few things as well here. So for now, these are the basics that you need to know about what is a UI policy. And next we'll be coming to actual our clients our scripting part in ServiceNow. Okay. So yeah. So coming on to a basic what is ServiceNow thing again. So our ServiceNow is a cloud-based application. So whenever we hear cloud-based, which means that we can access that particular application over the internet. That's what we call that as a cloud application, right? You open a browser and type the URL and you'll be able to get that. So those are all applications if they are hosted on the internet. And you're not, let's say you don't have any database server, you might be hearing like database server or application server like that, right? You won't install any of those devices in any machines locally. Like if you are working in an organization, if that has a ServiceNow tool, that will be hosted on a cloud. That they won't have any physical machines where they will install ServiceNow. Okay. So that's a cloud-based tool. Okay. Let's say you have Java, right? So whenever you wanted to build a Java application, what you need to do, you need to install Java application onto your machine and you need to develop the applications, right? If you wanted to do that. So ServiceNow is a cloud-based application where if you have an internet and if you have a browser, you can access it and you can develop any apps as well. Okay. So that's a cloud-based tool. So whenever you open ServiceNow, where you are opening it, you are opening it on in the browser, right? So that browser is called client. Okay. So as I am working on my particular laptop, so my laptop will become client side. Okay. So whenever you might get a question as well, like what is a client side? Which means whenever you're opening ServiceNow as a browser, the browser is called a client side. Okay. Next, we have ServiceNow, right? Like whenever you are entering developer.service, like whenever I'm entering this, I'm logging into this, from where it is coming from, it is coming from a ServiceNow, right? This cloud application, you are getting all that information into your browser, right? So where that is coming from, that is coming from a ServiceNow cloud, right? So whatever is coming from ServiceNow, that side is called a server side. Okay, so we have two types in ServiceNow. One is client side and one is server side. Okay, so we have learned UI policies, right? So UI policies comes under client side. I'll just write it here. So UI policies comes under client side, and you also have client scripts. I'll just increase the font. Right. So UI policies and client scripts comes under client side. As we were discussing. So what UI policy actually does, it is changing the behavior of that particular form, right? The UI is getting changed, right? I mean, your browser behavior is getting changed. What I told, browser is nothing but our client, right? So as the behavior is changing at the client side, we call them as client side actions. What are all those UI policies? Client scripts. So till now, we have just discussed UI policies, right? So client scripts are also comes under client side scripting. Okay. So UI policies you have just used to make it mandatory read-only and visibility, and also you have a clear option as well in the UI policies. Let's say if you wanted to set some value, let's say in the short description you are giving welcome to ServiceNow. If I find in short description, if I have welcome to ServiceNow, in the new string there should be a text that has to be auto populated. Okay, or let's say whenever I type welcome to, then the new string value should auto populate to ServiceNow. You can't do this with a UI policy, right? Like in the initial stages, you can't do that with a UI policy, because what we have discussed, mandatory read-only and visibility, right? So you can't set a value to a field. So to achieve these kind of things, we have client-side scripting. Okay, you can even do the similar actions, whatever you are doing with UI policies, the three things, visibility, mandatory, and read-only, at the client side as well, but through scripting you need to do. Okay, now we'll be seeing how to do that particular scripting. Okay, so now we are working at the client side scripting. Okay, so till now we have seen UI policies and client scripts. This is of the client side one. So how to write a client script? Same thing as you wanted to write it on this particular. I'll just save it. I'll just refresh it. So as you wanted to write on this particular table, so you need to write it on this particular table itself. So how do you write it? Right click, configure, client scripts. Okay, I'll just use it here so that I can just refresh it and show it to you. So I'll just right click, configure, client scripts. So click on new. So there are 4 types of client scripts. So what are all those? Let's see. So let's say whenever you are loading, whenever you are reloading, right, or loading or clicking on this t-shirts and opening any form, it's getting loaded, right? So whenever the form is getting loaded, that's called an like whenever you wanted to do something, whenever the form is loading, then you will be using an onload client script. Let's say whenever you are loading the form, the short description should be auto-populated to something or the other. Okay, or the supplier contact is there, right? This should be auto-populated with some value whenever you are opening the record. Okay, so in that case, you will be writing a onload client script. Okay, next, what we have discussed previously, what is our requirement? Whenever I type welcome here, then automatically this should populate with ServiceNow. So whenever we speak, what do we actually speak? When short description becomes welcome. So I can even reiterate with when short description changes to welcome, then populate new string to ServiceNow. This way also I can say that, right? So whenever short description changes, that's what you're saying. So you need to write a on change client script. You're not loading the form, you're just changing something. Based upon the change, you need to populate another field. So that will be an on change client script. Okay. Next client script is, I'll just fill up the mandatory fields. And whenever I'm saving the record or updating the record, if I wanted to trigger something, then that is called an on submit. So whenever I'm submitting, saving or submitting is same. So whenever I'm clicking on any UI action, any button, that's called a submitting thing. So on submit of this form, if you wanted to do something, then you will write it in the on submit client scripts. Okay. Next, you also have these 3 things. One is on load, on change, and on submit. These 3 things works only at the form level. So as we have discussed, this is called a form, right? So these 3 things will be working only on the form level. It won't work in the list view. Okay. On load, on change, on submit won't work here. Okay. So only client script that is available is on cell edit. So these are called cells. In Excel, if you open, you have rows and columns, right? Each one row, like A1 is called a cell, right? So each one is called a cell. So here also in this service now, if you are double clicking, if you have this particular thing, if I'm highlighting it, this is called a cell, right? So if I double click here and if I try to change something, then some action should trigger. So that's called on cell edit. Okay. So 4 things, I'm just repeating it: on load, on change, on submit, and on cell edit. So these are the 4 types of client script that you have. So let's see each of the scripting thing. Okay. Next. So I'll just repeat it again. So I'm on the t-shirt table, and whenever I'm loading the form, right? So the number field is there, right? Then this number field should be populated with t-shirt 0005. Okay. Always whenever I load the form, this has to be appearing. I need to select size and save it. So whenever I load it, only this has to be supported, right? So whenever you're loading, that's what you're saying. So you need to write a onload client script. So right click, configure client scripts, click on new. So I'll just write populate number. There's a bit wrong example, but still to make you understand, I'm just giving you this example. So just ignore this UI type for now. You have type here where you have on cell edit, on change, on load, on submit, right? So we are now seeing on load, right? So select this type as on load, and then here you will be having that particular function. Okay. So whatever you wanted to, you need to write it here. Okay. Inside this particular brackets, inside this function. So what you need to do, you need to populate this number field with this value, right? So you wanted to access this form, right? You wanted to access this form, and after accessing the form, after opening the form, you wanted to set number field with this value, right? So to access this form in client script, you have G underscore form. Okay. You got into this particular form. Now what you need to access, you need to get the value, you need to set the value to the number field, right? So what you need to do, you need to set the value, right? So I have accessed the form. Next, I need to set the value. Write a dot and write set value, right? So whenever you write this dot set value, right? Sorry. Whenever you write set value, you are getting some info messages here stating that what that method does. So this accepts three parameters. One is string, one is value, and the other one is display value as well. Okay, so let's go with the two values here. So I wanted to set the value. So bracket open and close. So what I wanted to set, I wanted to set the number field, right? So you shouldn't get copy paste this particular thing. So always give that in the double quotes so that it will recognize that's a field. Okay. So I want you to set the number field, but the backend, as in the last class I've told you, you will always have a backend name as well. So to get the backend name, right click here and click on, you can even see it here, or you can click on show so that you'll get this field name. Okay, copy that and paste it here. So what you wanted to do, you want to set the field value of field number with what value you wanted to set, have a comma, what value you want to set, give it in the double quotes. So what you want to set, you want to set this t-shirt 005, right? Set that and save it. So if you want to set this, set any value to any field, first you need to access the form, for which you will be using G underscore form. After that, what you wanted to do, you need to set the value. So you need to use dot set value. If you see here, this is a camel case. So don't write this V as small letter. Always follow this because these are functions. It will have its own unique name. So always use V as capital and set value. Set value. Next, what field you wanted to set? A number field. What is number field's backend name? It's U underscore number. Copy that and paste it here. What value you wanted to set? T-shirt 005. Save it. Let me open this in a new tab. I'm holding control. I'm just repeating. I'm just holding control and clicking on it so that it opens in a new tab. Now I'll just click on new. If you see here, whenever I'm opening it, this is getting changed. This is getting auto-populated to t-shirt 0005. Okay. So if I open this 123 as well, right? So again, that will also give you t-shirt 0005 as well. Okay. So that's an issue, but just to make you understand the onload functionality, I've just written that. Okay. So whenever you wanted to do something onload of a form, then you'll be using onload client script. Okay. Basically, onload client script is used to pre-populate the form. So that's what is about onload client script. Next, we have an on change client script. So what we have discussed, let's say whenever I enter in short description, if I enter welcome, then the new string value should become service now, right? So just let's repeat it in a sentence. When the short description changes to welcome, that's what I'm saying, right? So first you need to access the form in the client script, right? If you wanted to get the value, if short description is, so you need to even know the short description value as well, right? So you need to get the value of short description. Then if that value becomes welcome, then you will have the new string to set to service now. So that's what you wanted to do, right? So again, I'm forming a sentence on the t-shirt form. When the short description value becomes welcome, then the new string should become service now. So as we are using when the short description changes to, you need to write a on change client script. So I'll go here, right click, configure, client scripts, new, and then populate new string. So as we are writing on change, So you need to even specify on what change, on what field value change, you need to do the action. So what is the field name here? Whenever the short description is changing, right? So you need to select the field name as short description. Okay. So here you have got the on change functionality here, right? So write the script here. Don't touch this thing. Don't touch these lines. Uh, just write it here. Okay. What you need to do, you need to get the value of this particular short description, right? When this becomes welcome, then only you need to set this value to ServiceNow, right? So first you need to get this particular value, right? So to get this particular value, as you have written it on this particular, okay, let's not go in that way. Okay. So as you wanted to access this particular short description, what you need to do first, you need to go into the form. So blindly write g underscore form. Next, write dot. What you need to get, you need to get the short description value, right? We need to check whether that is welcome or not, right? So for that, you need to get the backend value. So that is short description. So you need to check whether this is welcome or not, right? So you need to get the value from the form. So you have get value, bracket open. So what value you need to get? You need to get the value of u underscore short description. Give that in the double quotes. Okay. So let's store this in a variable where SD is nothing but short description. Any name you can give, where SD equals to g underscore form dot get value of short description. I'll end it with a semicolon. Now you got the value into SD. So whatever you enter, that will be coming into SD. Now what you need to do, if SD is welcome, then populate. So as we have discussed in the JavaScript classes, whenever we are spelling if, write that if SD equals to or FD is. So we don't write is here, we write double equals to. Is what? Whenever it is welcome. So I shouldn't write welcome here because that is a string, right? So that's not a variable. So only variables can be without double quotes. As there is a string, I need to place that in the double quotes. Okay. Then I'll just open the bracket. If SD equals to welcome, what should happen? Then set the new string to ServiceNow. Then on the particular form, set the new string to ServiceNow, right? So you need to access the form again. You need to write g underscore form dot. You need to set the value, right? Set value of what you need to set the value, like for what field? This field, right? You need to get the backend value of that particular field. And then what you wanted to set, you wanted to set it to ServiceNow. So this is also a string. So if you observe here, get value, you will only, logically speaking, you will get a value from a field, right? So it will only accept one parameter. Whenever you are setting the field, you need to know which field you are setting and what is the value of that particular field, right? You will get these lines if there are any extra spaces and all. To avoid that, you can just click on this format code so that it will be auto formatted. Okay. So that's what it is. And let's try to execute the code. I'll just reload. So I'll just type welcome here and click on somewhere or the other. You see there. So short description is welcome, then it's becoming ServiceNow. Let me change it to something else. If you see, it is not getting cleared, right? Why it's not clearing? Because you did not write. If that is not welcome, then what should happen? You did not write, right? So if it is welcome, then populate this. Else you need to clear that particular value, right? So then you need to clear this particular string, new string, right? So else if that's not welcome, then clear the value. So you need to access the field, right? So to access the field, you need to go into the form, right? G underscore form dot clear value. You need to clear the value. What field value you need to clear? You need to clear this particular field, right? So copy that field name, populate that. Okay, save it. If I refresh, if I write test, it won't populate. If I write welcome, it will populate. If I change it to something else, it will remove. So that's how you use get values and set values. If you want to get some value and check with something, then you will use g underscore form dot get value. If you want to set a particular field value, then you will be using g underscore form dot set value. Okay. So that's basic concept of get values and set values from in a client script. And let's say you want to make this new string as read only as well. As you are populating service now, let's make this field read only as well, right? So our on change client script is already there and it's populating. Now we just need to add a functionality stating that it should be read only whenever it is welcome, right? Now this is the script, right? When this is welcome, then we are setting the value. After setting the like we need to make this field read only as well, right? So to make it read only, what again we need to access the form and then make it read only, right? So write g underscore form dot you need to set it to read only. So you have set read only of what is the field name, u underscore string underscore 8. So here you need to set the read only to true or false. So I want to set the thing. So you need to give true here so that it will become read only. Okay. If you want to remove the read only, like whenever it's not welcome, then the value is clearing off, right? Then you need to make it non-read only as well, right? So for that, you need to write g underscore form dot set read only of that particular field 8 comma false. I'll just refresh it. Sorry to interrupt. Can we write SD starts with welcome? Yeah, I'll just tell you that. What we are doing, yeah. So let's say welcome. So this is becoming auto-populated and it's also becoming read-only as well, right? So that's what we're doing now. And I've got a question stating that which version. This is Utah version, and I can check that stats.do. If I type that stats.do, I'll get which version I'm in. So Utah is the version which I'm using. And also I've even got a comment stating that like if we can use rather having equals to, can we use dot starts with? So you can even use the stats with as well. As I did not discuss this in our previous classes, I did not use it. Okay, we can even use this and save it. And let's refresh and check it out. So it's working. If it doesn't starts with that, it won't work. So that's what it starts with is all about. I mean, if we are using starts with, it even only should start with welcome. That's it. Okay. So these all comes under the starts with, ends with. This all comes under string methods. So you people have to learn. That's what I've told you in the JavaScript class, where you need to learn all those methods so that you will be able to use that in these cases. Like you can even use dot contains or something like that. Okay. So you have dot index of, which will be a useful function that you need to learn. So those functions you need to make sure that you learn so that it will be easy for you to script in Servicenow. So at present, let's keep it to welcome. Yeah, we have a dot index of rather contains. So you just go through the JavaScript functionalities. What all you have, those all can be used in client script. So whatever you use in JavaScript, everything you can use in Servicenow scripting. Okay. So that's what is all about getting and setting the value. Now let's see another example. This is a reference field, right? Yesterday we have discussed this is a reference field. So what is a reference field? This is referring to another table. right? Let's say whenever I'm selecting able tutor, the display value is showing as able tutor, but what gets stored here is that particular record sysID. As we have discussed, each record will have its own sysID, right? So able tutor has a sysID of this, right? So whenever you have a reference field, always a sysID gets stored, not the actual value. Okay. So let's say, let's get this particular value and see what we are getting. Okay. On load of this particular thing, let's get supplier contact and see what we are getting. So the backend value is this. As you wanted to access this form, you need to write g underscore form dot get value. Let me go to a new record. Reference field. So I'll just write an on change of supplier contact. Here you can even use old value and new value as well, but as I just wanted to make it a bit shorter, so I'm just using g underscore form as well itself. Okay. In new value, you are getting whatever you select, right? That new value you'll be getting whatever supplier contact you have, that new value you are getting. If you wanted to get the old value, you can use old value variable. You can use it directly here, like alert of old value, so that you will be getting that value in the alert box. So you can even use console.log as well here, which will work. So whatever we have learned there in JavaScript, everything will be working here. Okay. Next, what we wanted to alert. Let's see what we are getting in supplier contact. So as you want to get supplier contact, I'll write g underscore form dot get value of, in double quotes, I'll just write supplier contact, or let me keep that in a variable so that it will be clear for you. Where supplier contact, I'm just giving it as SC, and then I'll just alert SC. Okay, so I'm just alerting what we get in SC. So I'll change this to something or the other. You see here, you are getting A282, right? So that's the sysID of Alejandro. So let's see whether that's same or not. You see here, that's the same value that we are getting it in the client script as well, right? In the alert box as well, we are getting the same thing. So whenever you get a value from a reference field, you will always get the sysID of that particular field, because that's a reference to another table. Okay. So that's one thing to dealing with a reference field. Let's say you wanted to populate this email, whatever is there here, right? Email that you wanted to populate in the new string field. So on change of this particular field, then the new string should be automatically populated with the email of that particular person, which means what you're doing, you are clicking on this record, which means that you're going into that particular record and then you are getting this particular thing, right? So you need to go into the reference field, right? So you need to get the reference of this particular field and then go into this table and then get the email, right? So as you're accessing on the form, you need to write where sc equals to g underscore form dot, as you are accessing a reference field and you want to go into the field, you need to write get reference, so that you will be able to go into that particular table. Okay. So what field you wanted to get into? You wanted to get into the supplier contact, right? So copy that, paste it here. So now SC will have all the information about the supplier contact, which means whenever I'm opening this, right? So you will have all the details of this particular user in this SC. Now what you wanted to get, you wanted to get the email, right? So let's declare a variable. Now, as you have everything in SC, you can just write SC dot. So what you wanted to get this email, right? Right click here and click on show. So the field name is email. So sc dot email will give you the email ID of that particular supplier contact. Let's alert it and see. T-shirt, refresh. Let's select another value. You see this? I've selected Adela and that email ID got in the alert box. Now what you wanted to do, you wanted to set this particular field with that particular email ID, right? So what is this field name? String 9 is a field name, right? So you need to set this particular field with what value? The value which is there in email variable. To access this form, what you need to do? Write g underscore form. G underscore form dot. You need to set the value, right? Use set value of email. Oh, sorry. You need to set the field this. What value you want it to set? You want it to set the email. That's it. I'll just do this. I'll just remove this alert message and then save it. So when I change this particular thing, this is getting auto-populated. As this is getting auto-populated, we can make this field to read only. So you know how to make this field read only. So that's how it is. So you can select something or the other so that the email ID gets changed automatically. So there is an issue with this particular get reference method because what happens is unless and until as you are going into another table, right? Here you are going into another table and then getting that particular value, right? So what is exactly happening is whenever you are requesting something here, whenever you are getting the reference of that particular field, it is going into the server and getting that particular user details into your browser. Okay, it is going from here to here, getting the user details and coming back here. That's what get reference does as you're going into another table. So problem here comes is whenever if your internet connection is slow, what happens is your browser will get stuck. If it's taking time, the next line won't get executed. So unless and until you get that particular detail from the server, that won't get executed, right? So to avoid that particular situation, what we do is we don't immediately write this statements. What we do is we have a functionality called callback function, which means write a comma and write a function name here, stating get details. I can give any name here. So get details is the function name. So whenever we get the information from the server, then execute it. So how you can do is so details of sc, whatever variable you give here, pass the same variable here, and whatever you wanted to execute, right? Pass that, keep that in the function. Okay, so this is the function. So what this exactly does is, let's say let me write alert here, test 1. I'll write test alert of test 2. So what happens exactly here is, so we are asking ServiceNow to get the details of the supplier contact, right? So it will go to the server and get the details. Till then, we are telling the browser, please don't wait. Execute the next lines of code. Don't wait here. Execute the next lines. Whenever you get the response, right, then execute. So for that, you have given a callback function. Okay. So whenever you get the response from the server, then this gets executed automatically. So if I run the script, test 1 will be displayed first because we are just giving a callback function. Whenever we receive the response, then only this will get executed, right? So first this line will be executed and it won't wait till the results. It will first second execute this statement. Whenever we get the results, then it will execute this particular callback function. So if I save it, if I select some other value, you see here the test 1 got executed, right? If I click OK, then the test 2 will be executed. Because at that point of time, we are just allowing the form to do something or the other functionalities. It won't make your form stuck. So it will even increase performance as well of the form. So always it's a good practice to use whenever you are using a get reference, right, always use a callback function with it so that your browser won't get stuck, because the user can fill up other details, right, rather waiting for them to get the automated fields fill up, right? So for that reason, you should always use get reference for this particular thing, right? So that's what is about get reference thing. And you can't go beyond one, which means, let's say you wanted to get this email, right? So you have got it. So let's say you wanted to get here you have department, right? Department is also a reference field. Whenever you write sc dot department, you will get this sys of this product management. Again, you can't do get reference of this product management and go into this particular table. There is only one walk-in possible. So we call this concept as dot walk-in. Only one dot walk-in is possible, not multiple. Whenever you're using get reference. Okay. So you can, if you are using sc dot department, you will only get the sys of the product management. Right. Next. Let's say if you wanted to set a supplier contact, let's say if you wanted to set a reference field, as I've told you, a reference field will always store a sys, right? If you want to set what you need to set obviously a sys to it. Let's say you wanted to set this on load, you want to set this to a bell tutor. Okay. So first I need to, let's clear this off and I'll save it. So whenever I'm loading the form, the supplier contact should set to able tutor, right? I need to set the supplier contact, right? So what I need to set the sys of that particular able tutor. So go to users table, and get the sys of that particular table. How do you get it? Open it. You'll get it here. You can right click here and copy sys, or you can, in the list view also, you can right click here and copy the sys. So now you have the sys where you need to set in the supplier contact. What you need to do, you need to write a onload client script, set supplier contact. So you need to set onload. You need to set the supplier contact, right? So you need to access the form g_form dot set value of, you need to set the value of supplier contact. What's the backend name of that? Backend value is u_supplier contact as a backend name. Comma. What is the sys? Sys is able tutor sys, which I will copy it from here, paste it here, save it. Now go to the form. Sorry. Go to the form, refresh it. You see here, able tutor is getting populated. So whenever you want to set any reference field, then you always have to use the sys of that particular field. Do not use able tutor. Okay, because it will always store a sys. You need to always set a sys to a reference field. Always remember. And this is also a type of reference field, right? Like the list type of field. There is also a reference field. So you will always get sys here. Whenever you are selecting something here, you will always get sys here. And you can't use get reference for this particular field, because as you will be having multiple users, Servicenow won't understand to which user you wanted to go into. So you can't use get reference for a list field, but you can get the values. Whenever you use get value of a list field, you will always get sys of that particular type. Like as here we are using users, you'll get the user sys. Okay. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, whenever you want to set the values of this particular field, then you need to use g_form dot set value of that particular field, comma sys. Do not give names. Always give sys for a reference field. I'm telling this particular thing repeatedly because I've seen many use cases where users by mistake set the name rather setting a sys for the reference fields. So always remember, for a reference field, you need to always set a sys, not the name. Okay. That's about this. You rather writing a onload client script and all checking everything. Let's say I wanted to check what is the value stored in this particular suppliers list. I wanted to get the values, what is the societies that I'm getting in suppliers list. How to get it is just get the backend field name. There's the backend field name, right? Copy it and use Control Shift J so that it will open the JavaScript executor. Just close this console. So you have here JavaScript executor. So now you can write all the client scripts that you want. Let's say I want to get the value of suppliers list, right? I'll just write, I need to access the form. For that I'll use g underscore form dot. You need to get the value. So you need to write get value of what values, what field value you want to get u underscore supplier list. So I need to have a display message, right? If I just execute this code, it won't run anything because you're not alerting or displaying something, right? How do you display? As we have display statements of alert or console.log, you can use that and display it. So run my code. I missed double quotes. So you see here, you're getting the double quotes. In this way, you can get any type of field as well. Okay, so directly you can execute that particular JavaScript in JavaScript executor. Again, repeating how to get this Control Shift J, you'll get this JavaScript executor and also console. Close that particular console and give the code here so that you'll be able to execute the client side scripting here. Okay. So that's about client side scripting. You have different functionalities, different methods in client scripts. Like you have set methods, get methods, set read only, set mandatory, set visibility true or false, set display. You can even have a icon to this particular field. You can even have a what we say a field message, like below this you can even display a message. So all those you will find it in the online. I'll share the link as well later. So you can even find all the form methods by just selecting g underscore form dot. So you have add decoration, add error message, add info message. So as we are using alert, right, we can even use g underscore form dot add info message. Let's see if that works here. Hopefully it should work. G underscore form dot add info message of test. Yeah, you're getting that. So you have add info message, right? In the similar way, you even have error message as well. So you'll get the error message as well. Okay. So in this way, you'll be able to execute the JavaScript directly for just experience. That's it. Let's say you want to get the value, field value. Rather going and checking somewhere or the other, you can just execute the JavaScript executor and get it. Or you can even right click here and click on show XML. So whatever things that is getting stored in ServiceNow, right? That is getting stored in XML format. So if you click on show XML, there's the XML format that we get. So if you see here, all the fields on this particular table, you will be able to see here. So I did not save the supplier list because of which it's not showing here. This will be from the server. So whatever that gets stored, that will be displayed here. So if you see supplier contact is already existing, so this field is automatically populated. The display value of this and the backend, whatever the values that is getting stored is a sys of this particular contact. Okay, everything gets stored, and you will be able to see using show XML. So similar thing with on submit as well, and on selected rarely we use. So you can just skip that for now. So on submit line script as well. Whenever you're saving the record, you can have the validations or fields populate automatically that we have discussed just now. Okay, so that's about client scripts. You have different methods. This is just to give you a reference how you can script and how you can easily script in ServiceNow. So there's just an overview of how you can use client scripts. Next, let's get into business rules like server-side scripting. So I've got a question saying that set display value. So whenever you're using the set display value as well, right? So it needs to even search that particular user details from the server. So it's better to have uh, the reference of that particular thing. I mean, the SysID basically, so that it will be easy. Basically, what in future classes we'll be learning about that. We shouldn't specify a hard coded values. Like let's say you shouldn't write that set able tutor. You shouldn't write in that way. So that's not a best practice. Okay, this was just for your learning purpose. We are just doing this. After that, whenever I make another session, I'll explain you what to write and what not to write. Okay. So that's what it is. So yeah, there is one more point as well. Why we shouldn't write a set display value is, let's say first name is Abel and this last name is tutor, right? So let's say if the person got married and their last name got changed, let's say not for him, or they changed their name to something else. Like people change their names, right? Sometimes. So let's say they have put a H here. What happens to the code? Again, you need to replace that particular code, right? So rather rewriting that code, the SysID will never change. It will be unique for everything, right? So if I just save this particular record and if I just refresh it, as I've set the SysID, it will automatically populate that particular name, right? So that's set display value shouldn't be used, and it's not a best practice in that way. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And coming on to server-side scripting. Yeah. So now what we have learned, whenever we are if we wanted to enhance the user visibility, or if you wanted to make any user mandatory visibility true or false, or if you wanted to populate whenever you're changing some fields, if you wanted to populate, or whenever you're loading the form, you wanted to auto populate some fields, or whenever you're submitting, if you wanted to add any validations, like this field should not contain this characters or something like that you do it in an on submit client script. Before, whatever you do, that is only happening on the browser level. Okay. So on submit will also don't go through the server. Like it won't go here. It will only be there on your particular browser. That's it. Unless and until you save it, it won't go here. So before saving, if you wanted to restrict, then you will be using on submit so that it won't pass here. If you want to add that validations. Now let's go to the server side. Let's say you have saved that particular form. Okay, then it'll go to the server and it has to store, right? And then you will get that particular saved record from the server side, so that your form will get updated with the data that you have given, right? So you have server side as well. So to do something, to do some auto population or something like that, we use server side scripting. So how to do that server side? We have different types of server side scripting. How to do that is, let's create few. I'm just close this out. Okay. Now what we are doing, we are generally creating this t-shirts are there, right? Yeah. So what we are doing, if you have to create a t-shirt, what we are doing, we are going to that particular table, clicking on new, and then you're filling up this form, and then you're saving it. As is a new record, you'll submit it, right? So that's what you're doing. Let's do this with a script. How to create a record in a table with a script. Okay. Let's do that. So as we are just learning the scripts, if you want to execute the server side script, you have scripts background. Okay, scripts hyphen background. Open that up. I'll just open it here itself. So here you can write any code. So that will be executed on the server. Okay. So now let's create a record in t-shirt. So for that, so basically scripting, always make sure that whatever you spell, the same thing should be written in the script. Always remember. So you can convert your normal language into script. I'll show you how that works. So now what you are doing, you need to first go to the t-shirt table, right? So what is our target? To create a record in the t-shirt table with short description as test. That's what our requirement is. So first manually what you'll do, you are going into this t-shirt table, right? So you have opened a table. So for this, what you need to do is take a variable where gr equals to, as you are going into a table, there's a predefined line. Just remember and write it. New glide record, G capital and R capital. Open the bracket, open the double quote and close. So what table you are going into? You're going into t-shirts, u underscore t-shirts table. You'll be seeing here, copy that, paste it here. Now you are in the table, which means you have opened this particular table. Now what you're doing, you're clicking on this particular new button, right? For that, you are initializing the form. So you'll write gr dot initialize. Okay. Initialize. I guess it's correct. Yeah. So you have opened this form. That means you have initialized the form, right? Now you need to populate the short description to test, right? So what you will do, you will go to this particular short description field, right? So as this whole record will be in this gr. Okay. So this gr represents this particular form. Okay. You need to set short description, right, on the particular record. So what this particular record is here, it is gr, right? Gr dot, what is the backend name of this? U underscore short description, right? Equals to what you wanted to set it to test, right? I'll just set it to test, and then after setting it to test manually, what you'll do, you'll click on submit or you'll click on save, which means you are inserting the record, right? This record is not there. You need to insert the record, right? For that, you are clicking on save or submit, which will save the record. So for that, what you need to do, gr.insert, that's it. Okay. So let's go to the list view. How many records we have? We have 3 records, right? Let's execute this and see. You see this, insert into u underscore t-shirt size. How many records got inserted? 1 record got inserted. You can click on this back button to get the script again. Let's go to the t-shirts list view and see. You see this? You can sort it out by created by clicking on this created. You see this? This got created. You have this short description as test, right? So that's done. Got it? How to create a record using glide record. It's simple. I'll just repeat it again. Go to a table. You're going into a table. What you need to write? Var gr equals to new glide record. Any variable name you can take here. Just write up this line. Just paste that particular table name here. That's done. What you are trying to do, you are creating a new record. Click on create new, which means that you need to write this gr.initialize. You'll get the new form. What you need to do, you need to set the values. Just write dot and that particular field name. Set some of the other value, and as you are trying to insert, you just need to write gr.insert. That gets inserted. Next, let's set a few other values. As we have discussed, the supplier contact, it's getting auto-populated. Let me remove that particular client scripts so that won't be affecting. I'll make this to false, everything to false. Now, let's even set few other things as well. So I'll just click on new again. So which means we have written the initialize. I've set the test value here. Now set the supplier contact to Abel tutor. So as I've told you, there's a reference field. You need to always set the sys of that particular thing. So let's get the backend names. U underscore supplier contact. We are setting it, right? So here you just need to write gr dot this equals to, you need to provide the sys here. What's the sys of Abel tutor? This sys. Copy that and paste it here. Okay. Next, let's even set the size as well to small. Okay. So you shouldn't write small u underscore size equal to small, because there will be a backend value for the small. So let's see what that is. So gr dot u underscore size equals to, I'll just increase the size. U underscore size equals to, what's the backend value of this particular value? So you can right click here and click on show choice list, so that you will be taken to this table where you will have value here. There's the label and there's the value. Copy that value, go back. In the script, you need to set that particular value. So there's a value that you wanted to set. Before executing, let's even set the number field as well. Okay, that's u underscore number, right? Let's even set u underscore number as well. So anywhere you can write gr dot u underscore number equals to testing from let's say inc 0012, something or the other. Okay, so I've set the number, size, this and this. So everything I've set. So you have 4 records now. Let's create one and check it out. Click on run. One record got inserted. Go to this table. Check it out. You see here inc 0012. This got created. Test supplier contact. As a SSID, you've got that. You've even got the small as well here. Auto populate. I mean, this got created, inserted into the table, which means you are executing this on the server itself, right? Next, let's say you're giving a small, the label of that particular field. What happens is this value is not there, right? But the label is there. If you try to execute this particular thing, what happens is small will be populated there as an extra choice. I'll open the first one. Small got populated. If you see here, you might not be able to see the color here, but it is a blue color. Okay. So you will see that as a blue color because you're not giving the value which is already there in that particular choice field, because of which it has set a new value, and whenever you try to click on that, it will show it to you in a blue color. So that's how you set a choice field value as well. So now you have got how to insert a record, right? Now let's see how to update a record via script. So let's remove everything. So how do you update a record? To update a record, what you need to know which record you're updating, right? So let's say in the t-shirts table, you wanted to update this particular incident, right? So to update any t-shirt record, what you are doing, you're going into the t-shirt table, right? So if you're going into a t-shirt table, what you need to write? Var any variable, I'm just take GA for a change, new glide record. Which table you are going into? T-shirts. Right? Now, let's say we just have few records here, right? Let's say you have multiple records. So at that time, what you will do, you have incident number. Let's say 1, 2, 3. I'll just update this to 1, 2, 3. So our requirement is when the number is INC 00123, update that particular short description to testing. Okay. So we need to update this particular number, right? So now what you need to do is you need to filter this particular record. For that, what you need to do, you need to click on this filter, right? You need to click on, you are clicking on this filter, which means you need to add a query here stating that number is this, right? This is what you need to do, and click on run, and then open that particular record, and then you need to update it, right? So this is what the process is. So let's now turn that into script. Okay, you are in the incident table. That's done in the script. Next, what you need to do, you need to apply the filter. You're clicking on this, and here you need to apply the filter, right? So first one is number. On the left side, what you're selecting, you're selecting a number, right? So whenever you're writing this filter, you need to always write ga.addQuery. Okay. So you have applied this particular filter, so you need to write add query. On the left side, you have number, right? So on the left side, you have two parameters here. Okay, this is the left side parameter and this is the right side parameter. This is left side and the right side, whatever you have here. If you are selecting is, it will have two parameters. One is left side and one is right side. So left side is number, right? So you need to write the number backend name here. So what is the number backend name? So you can just go to the thing and check. U underscore number is the backend name of the number field. So U underscore number is the backend name. So number is you don't have to write anything in between. Generally, it even accepts 3 parameters. As you're writing is, you don't have to write this third middle parameter. So you can write directly. So on right side, what you are giving this particular incident number, right? And clicking. So write that particular incident number here. Next, what you are doing after giving this, you are clicking on this run, right? You are clicking on run. Run is nothing but ga.query. You have you have gone into the table. Then you have applied a filter where number is this. You have applied that and then you have clicked on run, which is nothing but ga.query. Now you have got the record, right? Now you need to go into the record, right? So first you need to see whether there is a record or not, right? If there is a record, go into it. So as you are clicking on this particular record, as you need to go into this record, what you need to write is ga.next. So what this particular ga.next does is, it will go into this particular record. As you have only one record, you need to go into this particular record. So you'll write ga.next. So we will generally check whether there's a record existing with this particular filter or not. Let's say if you are giving something or the other and clicking on run, if there is no record, there is no need to update anything, right? So first you need to check whether there is a record existing or not. Okay. If you are sure that you are only getting one record, then you can write if ga.next, bracket open and close. This will only execute if there is any record. Okay. So if I am writing ga.next, which means that I'm clicking on this particular record. So now you are in this record, right? So inside this, whatever you do, you will get access to this particular record. So now what you need to do, you need to set this short description to testing, right? So as you wanted to access this form, what you need to do, ga.next. You need to access this short description, u_short description, the backend name. Done. Next, what you will do manually, yeah, I'll just show it to you manually how we'll do. So you'll update this to testing manually, right? And what you will do, now you will update the record because there is an existing record, you'll always update it, right? So you'll click on update or save. So which will update this particular record, right? I'll just reload it. So as you are updating it, I'll just write it to testing. And as you will click on update, you need to write ga.update. That's it. So this incident I'm updating, right? So the short description is test. Now I'll run this particular script and see. You see here updated, u_t-shirt table, one record got updated. You see here, this got updated to testing. So that's how we update a particular record. Okay. You can even update multiple records as well. So I'll just show it to you how that's done. Let's say you have, let me have 1, 2 as well, so that you'll get 2 records. Let's say number has 2 records, right? Number 1, number 2. So what, whenever you are doing it manually, so how many records you are expecting? You are expecting multiple records, right? So rather writing if, you will write while here. Because what while does is, it will iterate through all the records. So as I'm moving it here, right? So it will record each record in this way. So it will execute first record. If the next record exists, again it will execute here. There is no third record, right? It will come out. So that's what the statement does here. So as you have 2 records here with incident 1, 2, incident 1, 2, as you have applied filter, number is inc 0012, just update the filter here as well. Okay. Now we are expecting two things, right? 2 t-shirts should be updated. Let me close this. What is the short description? If you wanted to get the short description, you can just click on personalize, short description, get it here, click on OK. So let me change this to 1, 2, 3, something or the other, to see whether these both getting updated or not. Okay, first it will go to the first record and update it. It will go to the next record and update it. You see here 2 records got updated. I'll just refresh it. You see here both records got updated to testing. So in this way you will be able to update as well through multiple records as well with this particular filter. Okay. Generally, if you are trying to update a single record, right, we won't go with the number field. We will always go with the sys. So the interview also, you'll get similar kind of questions. Let's say I'll give you a sys of a table, then change that particular short description to test. So this might be your interview question. What you need to do, you have the table name, right? What you need to write, go to that particular table and then search it with the sys. So you have entered into the table via that GA equals to new glide record of that particular table name. Then you need to filter it with sys, right? So sys is, let's say I'll just get the sys of this particular thing and paste it here. So always, if you are targeting a single record, then always use the sys rather using any text field or any field, because that sys is unique. So you'll get the exact record that should be updated. So here what you have given, sys is this, right? So you need to get the sys backend value, right? So again, you need to go into this record and check the show XML and get this backend value of this particular sys. Rather doing that, what you can do is, as you have applied the filter, right? So it will be populated in the URL as well. You see this syspam query, you have the sys field here. Or you can even get it in this way. Click on run so that this will be populated, right? Right click here, click on copy query. Right click on this particular filter, right click here, click on copy query, paste it somewhere or the other. So you'll get the backend value of that thing equals to this. So on the left side, you have sys equals to that, right? So this is what we have got there. So sys on the left side, this particular thing here. So let's update that to something. Save it. One record got updated. Refresh it. You see here. So always, if you are targeting a single record, always use sys rather using some of the other conditions. I mean, with other conditions. Okay. So as you are writing this, right, like you are applying a filter. Let's say if you are having multiple filters, let's say INC number is INC 1002. You need to get the number backend name and all the things you need to get it, right, to write it in the script. Rather doing the backend names, things and all, what you can do is, let's say only with something short description, I need to update it. So you have two filters applied here, right? What you generally do, so as I've applied one, I have written one add query. I am even applying short description as well, right? So I need to write another add query as well. ga.add query of u_short description, comma, whatever the value you have. Let's say it's something, right? So I'll write something here. So that filter gets updated as is. So this is what the filter will show as. So rather writing multiple statements in this way, what you can do is, you can use ga.add encoded query. What does this do? So manually go to that particular record, apply that filter and click on run. So you get this particular query, right? Copy that query and paste it here. Okay. So now let's update that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's click on run. As the short description is getting changed, you won't get with the same filter. I'll just check with this particular filter now. So I'll update the short description. One record got updated. You see here. So rather writing add queries, multiple add queries and something like that, you have just copied that particular query and used it in the encoded query. Okay. So that's how you update a record. Insert is done. Update is done. Next, what else you have? You have deletion. So let's say you wanted to delete this particular record. So how do you manually do it? Go into that particular record and click on delete. Okay. So that this record gets deleted. So how you are doing that? Basically, we don't delete any records in ServiceNow. We don't recommend deleting a record, but still, for your idea, I'm just telling you. So what you're doing, you're going into the table. Write that where GA equals to new glide record of u_t-shirts. Next, what you need to do, you need to delete a record, right? You need to know which record you wanted to delete. So what I've told you, apply the filter. let's say you wanted to filter, you want to delete this uh, thing which has a sys of this. So this particular record you wanted to delete, right? You have applied that particular filter here. So as you're applying the filter, what you need to do, ga dot add encoded query. Just write that, write double quotes and close it. So as you have applied the filter, write that line, copy the particular query and paste it here. Rather writing encoded query, something or the other. Okay. Next, you have clicked on run, right? After applying this, you have clicked on run. What you need to write, ga dot query. Done. And you need to open that particular record and click on delete, right? To open that record, what you need to write, ga.next. So we better write if ga.next, as we are expecting a single record, we'll just write ga.next. Now what you are doing, you're just clicking on delete, right? So you are deleting the record, which means ga.delete record. Okay, if you just write ga.delete record, so this is the society that you have, right? I'll just run it again so that it is available here. I'll click on run script. This got deleted. Let's see if the record exists or not. You see here, this record is not there. If I refresh this, record not found because the record got deleted. So in this way, you will be even able to delete that particular record. Um, so I've got a question stating that whether we can set this display value of this particular thing. Let's say we have used the backend value, right, of large. It's always best practice to use the backend values as in my experience, what the users ask is, let's change that to extra small or something like that. It's not a best scenario, but what users ask is they wanted to change the front end name. So rather using front end names, it's always better to use a backend name. But if you still wanted to use a front end name to set the value, what you need to do is, let me scripts background. I'll just try to update this particular record. Where GA equals to write a record of U underscore t-shirts. GA dot add maybe of sys underscore id comma. I'll have the sys id here, GA dot query, which will go into where I'm clicking on run, and then if GA dot next, then I need to set the display value of this particular record, right? So basically, if you want to set the value, what you will do, I'll just copy the sys of this value, paste sys and paste it here. So you'll just write ga dot, I guess, u underscore size. So u underscore size is the thing. So if I want to set small, so I need to get the backend name of small, which is all letters and small, right? Let's say if I want to set the display value, that is S capital is there, right? If I want to set that, what you need to write is, as you want to set the display value, you just need to write ga dot u underscore size dot set display value. Oh, not this. We just need to write ga dot set display value of u underscore size, comma, small. Let me update it. Ga dot update. Record got updated. You see here, this got updated. So if you wanted to update it with a display value, you can use set display value so that the value will be displayed. So in previous cases, when we used S small, a new choice got created, right, with a blue color icon. So in this case, it won't be created. Okay. So that's how it works. So we have used insert, update and deletion using background script. Business rule, how to write a business rule to do all these things. Okay. Next, we have inside server-side scripting, we have different types of server-side scripting. One of the server-side scripting that we have is business rules. Okay. So we have business rules. So there are different types of business rules we have. So why do we use business rules is, let's say, uh, whenever like on this particular form, let's say you are populating this email, right? Whenever you are on change of this particular thing, you are populating the email field, which means that you are going into the record and getting the email field there. I mean, getting the email field and setting it here. Let's say you are doing a server call as well, right? Because you are going into another table. Let's say that can be waited till you save the form. I mean, after saving the form, also if that is getting populated, that's fine for you. It's not an immediate requirement that you have. So if you rather writing a client script, going with a business rule will improve the performance, as you're not going doing a server call in this case. So if you wanted to pre-populate the form on the server level, then you will be using business rules. Or after submitting the form, if you wanted to do some operations, let's say we have discussed incident and problem, right? So let's say whenever you are creating a P1, I mean high priority incident, then a automatic problem should be automatically created. Let's say able tutor test. I'm setting this impact and urgency to high, so the priority it becomes critical. So whenever I save this particular record, then what should happen is it has to create a new record in problem table. This is not achievable with a client script basically. I mean, we can do it, but we should not do it because you are creating a record in another table, which means you need to again go to the server and go into the problem table and then create a record, right? So that's not a best practice to do it with the client scripts. Okay. So after saving this record, then a new record should be created in the problem as there's a high priority incident, right? So for these cases, you will be going with a server-side scripting. So how does server-side scripting does is, so this is client side and CS server side that we have discussed, and we have business rules here. So let's do it with a real-time example. Let's say you are in your home, you are with a person in a home. Let's say you are the person who brings groceries from the store. So this is your house, this is your store. Okay. So let's say you have got all the list, and this person has told this person to bring all the list of groceries. So what this person will do, he will travel the store, right? So whenever this person is traveling, if this person calls this person and says that bring the extra items as well. Let's say you only have bread in your list. Previously, this person has given you to bring only bread. Okay, you have noted that down and you're going on your way. This person has called you and asked you to get a butter as well. So you can write down in the list and get it, right? Get it to your home, right? You'll go get the thing before going to the store. You are getting all the items, and then you're going to the store, purchasing all the items, and you're coming back. So if you wanted to update the same form, or if you wanted to do the work before going to the store, that's called a before going to the store. That's what we call, right? Next, let's say you are coming home, then this person has called you saying that go to the other place and get, let's say, go to another shop and get some other items as well. Okay, you are on your way here. So as this person has called you, you can even go here, do the things and come home, right? So that's how a before and after thing works whenever you are dealing with a groceries thing, right? So the same thing will even come with a before and after, with the business rules as well. Okay, so before going to the server, let's assume there is a server, and let's say you have got something to do. Then if you write it before business rules, then before going to the server itself, that action will be done, and the results will be displayed to your screen. So I have another example as well here. So you will write a before business rule so that it gets updated before going to the server, and then the results will be displayed here. Okay, so let's see how the before business rule works. So let's say whenever you have this caller as a bell tutor, then make the assignment group to something. Let's say application development. Okay, you can even do that with a client script as well, but let's do it with a server-side scripting. Okay, whenever the caller is able tutor, then populate the assignment group to application development. How do you do it? As you are doing it on incident form, go to any incident form. So here in this case, what you are doing, you are updating the same form, right? So as you're so in the example that I have given, as you are going to a grocery store, so you can get all the details here itself, which means if you are updating the same form, always use a before business rule, because before going to the server, get all the form, all that particular record updated, and then go into the server. Let's say if you are inserting a new record, if you wanted to set some field values, rather writing an after, write a before business rule, which means before creating that particular record, fill up all the fields and then insert that particular record into the server. Or if you wanted to update, before updating that particular, before updating into the server, run those particular scripts and then update that particular record in the server. So let's see how that works in the scenario. So if the caller, let's do a other thing. We have a VIP thing on a caller field. So let's select caller, a VIP caller. Whenever the VIP, oh, I don't have any caller. Okay, I'll just take Abel tutor. So whenever the caller is Abel tutor, then set the assignment group to application development. As you are setting on the same form, what you need to do is you need to write a before business rule. So go to that particular incident table, configure business rules. So click on new. So this is business rule that you have set. So if you don't give any, if you don't select this advanced, right? So it will always take the before thing. So before inserting or updating, what is our condition before, like whenever the caller is able tutor. So when to run, you'll select the caller as able tutor. Then what should happen in the actions? You need to specify that. Assignment group is application development. So let's reload the form. So whenever I try to save this particular record, right? So here, insert or update, I've created insert or updated, which means if you are creating a record or if you're updating a record, when the caller is able tutor, then update the assignment group to application development. That's what I've written. So here, able tutor is already there. I'm just updating the form and I'll save the record. As it's taking some time. So you see here, assignment group automatically populated to application development. Okay, in this way you can do it with the scripting as well. So maximum you try to avoid scripting if you can do it with set actions. Okay, if you are unable to do this, then what you can do is click on this advanced so that you can see this when field, which is before, after, async and display. So as you are applying the same, as you are updating the same form, what you have to do is before going on to the server, you need to update that particular fields on the form and then save it. So that's what you need to do, right? So you need to write before insert or update. If the caller is able tutor, then update the short description. So if you wanted to access the fields in the business rules, you need to write current. Okay. You need to write current dot, you don't have to write get value or set value like that. You just need to write current dot. What you need to do, you need to set this particular value, I mean field, which is assignment group. What you need to set that to, you need to set that to this particular group. You need to get the society of this particular group, right? So that is this. So let's write here current dot assignment group equals to this particular society. Write that. As that's a society, you need to give that in the double quotes. As there's a before society, what you're doing before coming home itself, you are updating everything, right? So you don't have to say that like you have already written that in your list, right? So you'll bring it for sure. So you don't have to write current dot update here. Okay. So I'll just save this here. Refresh. I'll just remove this. Save it. So it will automatically again populate that particular assignment group. Okay. This way you can even write the script as well. So let's write another script. So this is basically an easy one where you can just write current dot. The same thing. If you wanted to even check the values, you can use if the caller is this, you can write that in the conditions here, or you can use if, for, while, anything, whatever you wanted to, you can write it here. So let's get into a bit advanced scripting. Like as I've told you, when the priority is critical, then you need to create a problem record. Okay, with the same short description. So that's what is our requirement is. So now what you need to do, what is our requirement? Whenever a record, an incident is getting created or updated, and if the impact is, if the priority is critical, then create a problem record. Whenever an incident is created, after an incident is created as critical, that's what we are saying, right? So you need to write an after business rule for this. Because why we need to write an after business rule for this is, so you have this client and browser, right? If you are telling in the before business rule to create a problem record, let's say you have written to create a problem here. Okay, you have created a business rule, before business rule, to create problem on an incident table. So the incident did not get inserted before that itself you are saying to insert the problem, which is wrong, right? Because the incident itself, it did not get updated or created. How can you tell that? How can you tell the system to create a problem? Which is wrong, right? You should always do that in an after business rule, which means the server, the incident got created as critical. After that, while returning, you are saying to create a problem. Okay. So because of that, you will always write, whenever you are dealing with another table, you have to always make sure that to write an after business rule rather writing a before business rule. Okay. So to do that, so this will be our last topic actually, to create a other record in another table. So, so what is our requirement? Whenever incident is created or updated, right? So you need to create a business rule. Right click, configure, click on business rules, click on new, create problem record when P1, which is priority 1. So I'll click on advanced. So when we need to create after the record of incident is inserted or updated, and if the priority, you need to always make sure that don't write is, always write changes to. Okay. Always write changes to. If it is changing to critical, then what you need to do, what is our requirement? Whenever this priority is critical, then create a problem record. So how do you do it manually? After saving this particular incident, you will generally go to problem table, click on create new, go to the problem table, and click on create new, and then you will copy paste whatever the short description you have here. You will paste it here and then you save the record. That's what you do, right? Let's do the same thing in the scripting. So what you need to do after saving this record, we have discussed, right? So because of which I've written after insert or update and priority changes to critical, then what you need to do, you need to go into problem table. You're going into a problem table manually, right? Write that here. How do you write it in scripting? Var PRB. I'm just getting PRB as a variable. New glide record of to which table you are going into, problem table. So I'll just copy paste. There's the table name. I've gone here. Now what you'll do manually, you'll click on new. What is the new in scripting language? PRB.initialize. Done. Next, what you're doing, you need to set the short description, the problem statement of this to short description of this. You need to set this particular problem statement, right? Get the value, backend value. So you are setting the problem problem statement, which means PRB dot short description equals to what short description you need to set? Incident short description. How can you access this short description? As we have discussed, you need to write current dot short underscore description. Just current dot short underscore description and write PRB dot. What you'll do after updating the short description, you will save it, which means you are inserting the record, right? So write PRB dot insert. Simple. Okay. Now let's see. So if you wanted to display a message stating that what is the problem number. So if you wanted to get the number of the particular problem, what you need to do is, if you just write PRB.number, you will be able to get that number, whatever that gets created. Okay. So to display this in server-side scripting, we have GS dot. In client side, what we have alert console.log and g underscore form dot add info message, add error message, right? In server-side scripting, we have GS dot add info message. So here you need to write GS dot. GS in the sense glide system. Okay. So I'll just write GS dot add info message of PRB dot number. I'll just save it. So let me refresh and I'll just open up this all problem records and I'll get the created as well to show you if that's created or not. I'll just sort it. So now this has been created, right? Now let's run it. I'll set it to first medium. So for medium, it won't run. I'll just save it. That business rule won't run because the condition is not met. I'll just try to set it high at high, which is critical. Just fill the mandatory fields and click on save. On saving, it will go to incident problem table. It will create a new record and it should print the info message in which I need to get the problem record. You see here, PRB 004, the 0005 got created, right? Go to the problem list, refresh it. You see here, this record got created. Oh, sorry. Message also got created. So you see this with the same statement, this got created. So in this way, it's not incident and problem. You can create any record. So you have basically what we have discussed, right? Like whenever you are going into a table, you need to write the variable name equals to new glide record of that. And if whenever you are applying a filter, you need to write ga.add encoded query, copy paste the query that you have done, you have applied there, paste it here. And whenever you are clicking on run, you just need to write gr.query. And then if you wanted to go into the records, if you are sure that it will only return one value, you can write gr.next, then do the operations. If you are expecting multiple results, then always write while gr.next so that you'll get all the records. Okay. If you're trying to insert a record, as you're going into a table, you'll be writing glide record. As you'll be clicking new, you need to write gr.initialize. As you'll be manually filling up the fields, you need to fill the fields with gr dot, the backend name of the field names, fill up all the fields, and manually what you'll do, you'll try to save or submit the record, which means you're inserting the record. You need to write gr dot insert. That's it. Done. If you want to print it, use the methods like gs.addInfo message or add error message to get the messages on the screen. Okay. So that's all about the scripting sessions. I'll soon start a new session as well, like to go into deep into the scripting, where we'll be discussing more in business rules and client scripts, and also script includes part as well. So I'll soon get a new session as well. So to get the updates, please subscribe so that you will get my notifications when I'll be creating a new session. And I'll even update the event details as well in the same link that I've shared it to you. So next week I won't be available. So, and tomorrow also I won't be available. So I'll make some time and create some content and give it to you people, so that it will be helpful for you. Okay. So please feel free to provide the feedback in the feedback form, or you can even join the chat in Telegram group and ask if you have any questions. Yeah, that's it. Hope you all get good knowledge from this. I'll soon get in to you guys with a new session and new topics. Thanks everyone. Thanks for support. Bye.